So, I briefly want to talk about a couple things before we get started. The librarians and I were talking from last class, and we decided that this group would also be a really good place that would benefit from using library books as well, because they were going to use them over there and it just wasn't the right place to use them. So we're going to focus on primary sources that look like these, okay? But we are also going to focus on books and stuff like that. Make sense? So before we get started and jumping into it, I just want you guys to kind of like talk to each other briefly. Make sure you are looking at the front of the packet and we're all agreeing, because the videos were very general. You guys kind of looked at the Native American videos and stuff like that, but looking at the front of that packet, remember, I want to try to talk about as many of those things as possible. Briefly talk with one another one more time just to make sure everyone is focusing on something different, okay? So like turn around, Jason, Dylan, okay?
I never even taught a video.
Why?
I wasn't here last time.
Oh, well, we'll talk about that. So everyone talk together for just a second and remember, make sure that you're focusing on the right stuff.
Devin, are you using the Buddhism excuse?
No.
Can you just focus on the work?
Yes, how come this is his boot? If you really want to know, my doctor told me I can't take it off until it's
Great, now that we've gotten that covered, who's focusing on what?
I don't have it covered.
You guys are going to focus on Native Americans. Yeah? Would you agree?
What did I have?
Me and Gavin, really, only videos we saw were women in factories.
Okay, so why don't you work on like factory life workers and stuff like that? Why don't you work on women?
Of like that age? Of like that time period?
During that time period, yeah.
They were nothing.
Okay? Dylan, why don't you work on immigration, or were you working on immigration?
The only thing I saw was some people in the carriage.
Okay, so immigration.
All right.
And then you can work on,
He said immigration for him.
I'm sorry, immigration here, and then, what was the other one I had?
I don't know.
Why don't you do like minorities, like Asian, African American minorities?
All right.
Sound good? Okay?
Women.
Now, before we get started, these are primary resources. So everything you watched over there was very general videos trying to give you a background on it, right?
Very good.
Okay? Some of them were right.
No, you didn't pick a good spot to watch the video because you get no service in it.
Oh, well,
We get no service in here, period.
I do.
moral of the story is, we're going to be looking at the primary sources like this in the books, okay? You kind of all have a general focus, but again, we're coming back to that question of the gold-covered rotten apple, right?
Yeah.
What have you seen so far of like, what was the good things of the Gilded Age? Because we talked about it as a whole class, but I want to see if you guys...
That were like super wealthy and could like buy whatever they wanted.
People who are super wealthy could buy what they wanted, so the economy in general was going up, right?
Yeah.
Okay. There are poor people. Who were a lot of the poor people during this time period? Immigrants, minorities, and women. That's why I was like, kept pointing at you. I was like, come on, say it.
So you point at me all the time.
Okay. What was some of the other bad things that were happening during this time period? You almost cried about one of them.
Yeah, also the kids in the Carlisle school.
The kids in the Carlisle school, stuff like that. Okay. What other bad things?
Children working in factories.
Child labor. Yep. Okay. So now we have a pretty good like breakdown of what we were expecting to see, right? So before we get started, I'm going to write a list of questions up here on the board that I want you guys to kind of focus on as you're going through the primary resources, so that it'll help you focus. Okay. So think about the people that you are focusing on, and what questions do you think you want to answer today by looking at some primary resources. Think of a question for women. Think of a question for...
Why wouldn't they let women do it?
Why? How about this? Why didn't women have more power?
Why?
I don't know, because that's how it was.
Good.
Because men had wieners and women did. I don't know.
Glad I got that on recording. Okay. What else? What other questions can we ask about sources?
I made
Why did they look down on other races?
because they were different colors than men. They were.
No, that's literally the thought process.
They literally were. You're not white. You're something different. I don't like you.
I shouldn't laugh at that.
You probably shouldn't.
Which you already did.
So, you know.
Okay. What else?
Animals do.
Why didn't they let immigrants in?
different colors?
Like,
Why didn't women get paid the same?
We can kind of.
because they didn't have the power.
Okay. Come on. Think of an immigration question, because you actually you started that idea. What do we need to know about immigration?
Aren't they allowed to work the same job as them?
Why didn't they get paid as much as others?
So these are all kind of the rotten things. What good things can we talk about?
How did factories benefit the economy?
Okay, good.
I can't really give you a winning question, nothing really good happening with them.
Well, you're about to find out. Actually, there is some good stuff. You'll see.
They make kids.
Nope, that's not it. What was your O? How did the factories help the economy?
Kids are terrible. You don't want to have kids.
Who made trees?
How much money spent?
Say that one more time, Gavin.
How did factories help the economy?
No, I thought you said something about money spent. Sorry.
No.
Okay, any other questions we want to ask? Have any Native American questions? Think about it, okay? Because we can add to this list as we go through the class, okay? But this is how the things we're going to move forward going now, okay? 1, all of the primary sources I have, or most of the primary resources I have, I printed out. The quality is not super great, okay? But the iPads over here has a Google Doc open with all of the sources that you can click on and blow up and do stuff like that. Make sense? Yeah. Some of you, there's some really good like Indian Carlisle School books over there. I highly recommend grabbing some of them. They even have a little white piece of paper where they focused on Native Americans. Okay? There's actually a bunch of books over there on women too.
Yo, Frame, if my family was Irish and they moved over here from Ireland, does that make them immigrants?
Yes. So that's literally what but that was literally what the political cartoon is that we were talking about today. Okay? So, are there any questions on how we should approach this? I will say this, even though you guys are kind of focusing on different things, I would like for you guys to kind of work together looking at some of the sources. Like you and Heidi worked together really well the other day, okay? You guys always kind of work well together. And I don't know about you two, but we'll decide later.
They just don't work.
Actually, Dylan had an A last quarter.
That's surprising.
Sit down, Dylan. All right. Like I said, what I would do is to look at the iPads because, like I said, they're kind of already blown up. That you can kind of do more with them. You can see them in color. But if you want to just focus on grabbing some of the little printouts, you can do that. And then, like I said, the ones over there for Native Americans are pretty.
My grade wasn't bad last quarter. It's just it was an F because I didn't do work for
So it was
3 weeks.
But then you fix it.
And then I fixed it. So.
All right, go ahead and get to work, and I'll come.
Where are the women's books?
So the women's books are. So there's like a little tan shelf over there that you can look at.
Is there immigrant books over there?
So there's probably. How about this? This is actually a pretty good book to start with because it's a very general, and it's got a really good. Hey, it's got a really good index in the back. So look up immigration here in the back, and you can look up. See where to
There's a
go.
lot of tan shelves in here.
Okay, see Miss Northrup standing up? There's a book shelf to the right of her. So like if you're looking at, like if she's looking this way, it's like right here.
Is that her work?
All of the Gilded Age books are over there.
There's actually one friend.
That's a very, very nice P.
Yeah. Or is that a T?
It's a P. It's Puck Magazine.
Yeah, true. We thought it was something.
Because you're doing factories, right?
Yeah.
So you got, again, even though this is just a picture of a factory, what can we assume about it? You actually have a factory fire here.
Oh.
Nice description.
Store is a factory building.
Any more racist ones?
That one's definitely.
Oh, this one's racist?
Yep. So
I
if you,
can't tell. It's
well,
hard to see
that's what I'm
color
saying.
without
If you want to grab the iPad, this is like Custom House one. I can help you find it. This is about voting rights in African Americans. This is about Native Americans here. This is racist.
I made a joke. It's hard to see color without color.
Oh, you did. That's funny. Hold on, let me see this. Let me just make sure it's in the right place.
Is these the books you're talking about?
Let me see if I can go find the other two I was talking about. Okay.
Native American.
Okay, let me see if it's on this one.
Holding the city?
Yeah, I don't know if that would help me or not.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, thank you.
So that one's okay, but there was two really good ones that I was looking at earlier. No, you're okay. I'll grab them for you. Okay, so those get
Not like
Yeah.
African, not
yeah. Didn't you, are you who's focusing? So where the white pieces of paper are, is where it talks about the Carlisle School specifically. Are you doing immigration? No, you're doing immigration. Who's doing minority rights? Oh, and here's a good book. I'm going to leave this book back here for you.
Read this together.
Skip page 28.
No, they didn't. Where's 28? 26, 27, 28.
I'm like 15%.
It's just a picture. Oh, but here, look. It tells you what it is. Lowsiders served as the first home to many Jewish immigrants. So this is like a Jewish immigrant community.
Native American children.
No, my.
As the Indian Civilization Act was provided thousands of dollars to missionaries.
What?
Civilizing
Hey, sit down and work.
I love this stuff.
children of missionaries.
They made French white, then they made whatever color Asian.
Stop. Work.
Did their own during the President of France administration, Congress budgeted $100,000.
I'm going to take that one from you for just a second.
Yeah.
I want you to start with this one.
This one?
Yep.
What color will we?
This one's good. I mean, this one's good, but this one,
This one.
it starts over here and then goes from there.
Miss Ted, this is my.
On the second page 2 of the packet. Work, please. Yeah. So the point of this is like if you're looking at this, what does this look like for Jewish immigrants? Like if you were to look at this, how would this explain or like how would this describe immigration?
There's a lot of them.
Okay, so lots of immigrants. Also, if this is like a Jewish neighborhood, what would it say about immigrants when they move to New York City? If they're all in one location. No.
They're in the Bronx.
Yeah?
Yeah, actually.
No. Lower East Side. Bronx is across the river. But think about it this way. Say it one more time. That's actually correct. Ghettos are neighborhoods that families, like different immigration families move to, and poor people.
They live in the hood.
So no, ghetto comes from that term. Ghetto actually means that they all live within the same neighborhood. So now write all this stuff down that we just talked about. Jason, write something down, please. Because you're going to eventually have to cite all this stuff when we go to the librarian. So yeah, I would write down the page number.
One of them, and one of the links don't work.
Huh?
Apparently, it can't find.
Oh, I know. Hold on. I just typed in the wrong link. Keep forgetting to change it.
Yeah, I don't understand how they consider an Asian yellow.
It's just a racial stereotype, unfortunately.
Man, they really make the Chinese people Lego.
Oh, stop.
I only recently found out that Lego was made in.
Did you say You say Play-Doh?
Play-Doh?
Is that what you said?
No, Lego.
Oh, Legos. Which one are you trying to open?
I believe the one that said something about Chinese immigrants.
Oh. There we go. Oops, sorry.
It's okay.
You do have your packet, right?
None of these look helpful. Besides like that one
So which one?
for the home.
Hey, it's a restroom.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you don't like this one, well, let me see this book for a second. Okay, let me make sure. Okay, so there's an index for this one. So you could probably look up, there's clothing. How about jobs? I'm looking for jobs. Why don't you look through this so I can go back to helping one of them. See if you can find anything about like factories or jobs. Okay. Always start with the index. It's always a good place to start.
Yeah, I was just starting at the front page.
Yeah.
Is that all the index?
Yeah, these 3 pages here. And you may not be able to find something. That one might be a little bit better because it's kind of more of a like a resource book. So
Go in space. Okay? This is the people
Huh?
who go in space.
sign the books.
no, sight.